So another topic I wanted to talk about is how to ensure we don't lose ourselves in the name of business and in the name of trying to please others or go along with what other people are telling us to do instead of trusting in ourselves. So this kind of follows on from something I spoke about in my previous video, and it's tied and connected because I'm on a theme at the moment and still just riding the wave of everything I'm feeling inspired about since the recent events. And I really wanted to speak to this from the perspective, though, about how our environment is so important and how it's really important to surround ourselves with mentors and people that aren't just telling us how to do business, but are also living life in accordance to our values, so that when we are listening to them and gaining insights and advice from them, we're not becoming something we're not. And this is something that I have noticed has happened, and I can only obviously speak from my own experience, but this is something I've noticed has happened when I've got too deep in one person's world. And this is why sometimes I'm not sure I actually fully believe in the whole one mentor for a long-term kind of idea that a lot of people live by, and like just being with that one person, because I feel like we can get blindsided and become codependent and just become like, you see like all these people walking around like clones of their mentors, and there's just like this really weird underlying energy in the industry that doesn't resonate with me. And I think this is why I actually really like being part of community mentorship programs, where it's not just the mentor that's at the top leading us all. There's like community and collaboration, and we're learning from one another and growing together. And yes, someone is holding point for that community and they're sharing their ideas and their learnings, but it's in a way where we get to pick and choose what works for us. And this is a way that I really thrive. And this is something that I've even noticed in the things that I've created over the years. I much prefer to create community experiences. And something that I've also noticed in recent months is how I was trying to become something I'm not, because I was allowing myself to buy into this particular perception that's out there in the coaching industry about having to be high value or having to position yourself as a luxury brand or people won't pay you. And there's a lot of talk going on in the industry at the moment, a lot of people calling this out, and a lot of people really speaking up about their experiences with this as well. And so it's something I've kind of bitten my tongue on and kind of like danced around, because I haven't fully gone too deep. I pulled out before I went in too deep, and I'm really glad I did. But there's this one particular mentor, and this is just the one that I was going to invest in. And now when I see her stuff, I'm like, oh my God, what was I even buying into? Like, I don't agree with her values. I don't agree with the way she does life. I don't want what she's got. And so I really think something that's important in this industry is to be discerning and to really take our time with these big decisions and not rush and not be made to feel like you're not enough if you're not investing, and if you're not putting big money in, you don't have skin in the game and people aren't going to invest in you, because there's a lot of this fear-based messaging out there. And what I really have valued recently is the community that I've been involved in. It was a low ticket entry point, and yet we are getting such high value, high quality service. We are being demonstrated what true leadership looks like. And it has just completely blown my mind and changed my entire perspective of this industry, and really made me have faith in this industry again, and really allowed me to see how I can fit into this industry, because I never wanted to just go and suddenly charge these exorbitant prices just to make myself be able to live this luxury lifestyle. And it's not because I'm anti-money, it's not because I don't want to live a quality lifestyle, it's because I am aware of how the world is, and I don't believe in that. How can I sit here and question the system and judge authority and judge corporations and judge all these people who I disagree with what they're doing in the world, these government leaders and these people causing wars and violence and all of this stuff that I hate, and then how in the same breath can I go and make myself so inaccessible and so out of reach to people that I'm like pedestaling myself and making myself seem above everyone. Like, I just don't agree with that. And yes, I agree there comes a point where you're in high demand, and especially if you're doing one-to-one time, it's gonna cost more, and I see that. But when there's group offerings and group things, I just don't believe in this super high ticket premium luxury pricing. And this wasn't actually the tangent that I was planning to go on in this video, but apparently that's what's alive in me, so I'm gonna run with it, because I did notice myself starting to look like I was going to talk about something else, how I lost myself because of the environment I was in, but I'll do that one in another video. And this one, I'll stick to this topic, because what I did notice was I started to go against my own values, and I started to try and position myself as this professional person and as this luxury brand, and like, oh, I need to dress a certain way, I need to speak a certain way, I need to act a certain way, I need to do all these things, I need to talk about all my credentials, and like all of this stuff I don't actually care about. Like, I have a university degree. I don't believe in university. I have qualifications and awards, and I don't believe in it. And then I'm seeing people like go to these events and like put themselves up for awards and all of these accolades and stuff. And I'm like, I just actually don't buy into it. I don't buy into celebrity culture. I don't believe that putting people up on pedestals and worshipping these people is good for our society or is benefiting us in any way. And so for me to then go and work with someone who is doing this and who does have like this kind of cult status doesn't actually feel true for me. And so I'm really glad that I only dipped my toes in, because I was able to get behind the scenes and realize that actually what I was being taught was all the things I'm against, and I don't want to do those things, and I'm not going to go against my values at the expense of other people just to try and get ahead and live this luxury life. So that's something I see in the industry, and I'm just really grateful that there's a lot of people speaking up about that right now. And I really truly believe that there are ways to do business and ways to really make good money without exploiting, without manipulating, without doing all of these icky things. And I think a lot of this stuff is coming to light right now, and a lot of this stuff is really being questioned and looked into. And there's really clean ways to do business. There's really authentic, loving, genuine ways to do business. And that is the way I want to operate. That is the way I believe this world needs to be moving in. I see, and it's not coming from this like savior place either. Like, I don't believe in martyring ourselves, and that's definitely an energy that I know has been there in me in the past, where it's like, I don't even want to charge for my services, and I don't even like want to be a coach or put myself out there, and I feel like I've cleared that. Funnily enough, I did a lot of stuff on the dance floor this weekend when I was like literally head in the bass in the speaker, like, oh, music vibrating through my body. And I was just like, oh my God, like, let it go, let the people pleaser go, let this martyr go. Like, you are able to charge, you are able to show up, you have value to give, and like all of these things that were just like rippling through my body. and really just fully feeling that and like dropping into that receivership. And that's when I opened, and that's when I experienced all of this magic, and that's when I fully trusted and surrendered and allowed myself to just move with the current of life and to realize I don't have to be anything but myself. I don't need to position myself as this luxury brand. I don't need to try and act all professional and prim and proper, because if that's what I'm doing to try and charge higher prices to make myself seem like worthy to people, then they're not the people I want to work with anyway. Because if you're building on this like shaky foundation and you're forcing yourself to be something you're not, eventually that's all gonna like explode and crumble, and that's when the chaos ensues. So it's much more important to build on healthy foundations where you are so set and so solid in who you are, and be okay with things maybe taking longer because you're doing it at the pace that feels true for you. That's the realization I've come to. Like, I don't need to go at somebody else's pace. I don't need to create offers that don't feel aligned in my heart. I get to be who I am. I just started laughing because like it's like the line of one of my favorite songs, which I got to hear on the weekend, and got to sing along to, and like that's the thing. For me to sit there and to like act like I don't love being barefoot, half naked, dancing and sweaty at a festival is just not in my nature. I can't do that. It's not me. And like it's a disconnect for me to like try and say, oh, I'm this luxury person, when that is very much my reality too. And I do not see that not being part of my reality anytime soon. So all I'm saying here is, again, like watch the mentors you invest in. Look at them as a holistic view. Like, what are they just telling you they can help you make lots of money? Or do they actually have similar values to you? Do they have the lifestyle you want to have? Like, sure, maybe they live in this fancy, luxury, beautiful house and dress really nice and jet set around the world, but do they travel the way you actually like to travel? Like, that's the other thing. I see these people say they're traveling and they're literally traveling for 5 days and then they're home. I'm like, they're literally like, I've only just settled in Europe in 5 days, and then I want months to explore. I want to be able to like soak myself into the place and be there and like really like feel the energy of a place and immerse myself in it. So we're not the same. And I also don't want to be the same as the people I invest in. But if their values are completely different and there's this giant disconnect, then trying to take advice from them and trying to become like them is likely to just like be this really uncomfortable, annoying battle. And if you're feeling that it's not true in your heart, then trust in that. Your heart knows, your intuition knows. Just because there's all this noise out there, sometimes the best thing to do is block it out and go inward and just listen to the whispers and the calling of your soul. And that's how I know, like when I'm in places like where I am now and when I'm doing the things I love, all the external noise, like it just disappears because I'm so much more connected to me, because I'm here like just in my pure blissful element of doing what I love, and the creation just comes from there. I don't need all of this external advice, but it's when you're kind of in those states of like that feeling lost state, and then it's like you're seeking something outside of you, and that's when it's easy to get drawn in directions that may not necessarily be meant for you. So I think sometimes if you are feeling like this like jarring, jolting, like, oh no, my biggest piece of advice would be to go inward, take a step back, slow down before you go and just hand money and hand power over to other people. Take it back to yourself and journal, go out in nature, dance, move, do things that help you connect to you and the greater power above and God and whatever you believe in. Do those things, because that's going to help you channel what it is you're meant to do. And when you get to that state of pure like emptiness, because you've like, this is also why I love festivals, because it's like this full-on release. Like, imagine 7 days of dancing to the music you love the most, and there's no other care in the world. You are just there, you and the music, for hours and hours and hours and hours, and your body is just moving and you're in this mesmerized trance state, and there is no external noise beyond you and you at your purest form, emptying, 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 opening, 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 making space for the things that you're meant for. And that is when the answers come. So if you're feeling lost and you're feeling uncertain, I just want to let you know that I was there not so long ago. I had all of this stuff and I was seeking externally, and I had to let myself just allow myself to crumble so I could pick myself back up, and you can do that too. And if there's ever a time where you do need support and you align with anything I've said and resonate with anything I've said, then maybe reach out and maybe let's talk, but only if you feel the pull. And if there's that resonance, then I would love to support you. So thank you for listening to my ranty rant. And I'll see you soon.